Imagine you are forced to live in a merciless world. No walls to protect you from the biting cold, no roof to shelter you from the rain. You are the weakest and slowest creature, surrounded by monsters with fangs like daggers and claws like steel, while all you possess is your thin skin and your constant fear. How could a creature this weak endure? And how did this trembling being transform into the absolute master of this planet? This is not merely a tale of ancient times, it is the greatest epic in the history of existence, a story of blood and fire, a story of the mind that conquered muscle and the will that defeated the impossible. The first tool. More than 2,300,000 years ago, the plains of East Africa were home to small creatures known as Homo habilis, the handyman. Short in stature, their bodies no taller than 1.5 meters, with no claws for defense and no speed for escape. They lived on the margins, surviving on roots and dried fruits, waiting with patience and fear for the lions to finish their feast so they could steal the scraps. Then came the moment. One of them sat near a riverbank, staring at a large bone filled with precious marrow. His weak teeth were incapable of breaking it. He looked at a volcanic rock in his hands, then back at the bone, and in a rare flash of inspiration, he grabbed one rock and struck it against the other with force. Sharp fragments flew and a cutting edge formed, one that had never existed in nature before. This was not merely breaking a rock, it was the first act of manufacturing in history, the first time the mind shaped matter to serve a specific purpose. With this simple flake, doors opened to new and rich food sources. The abundant protein and fat allowed the brain to grow and increase in size, leading to greater intelligence and better tools in an ever-ascending spiral of evolution that never stops. Fire. Hundreds of thousands of years passed. A new species emerged. Homo erectus, the upright man. Yet despite his strength, the night was still a nightmare. The moment the sun disappeared, the beasts took control of the world, and cold became a lethal enemy that pierced through bones. Like every other animal, the human fled from fire in panic, seeing it as a destructive monster. But human curiosity began to overcome instinctive fear. He noticed that predators kept their distance from it, that warmth radiated from it, and that its light defeated darkness. And when he discovered how to make fire himself, by striking stone or rubbing wood, he was no longer a slave to natural circumstances. He became capable of summoning light and warmth whenever he wished. This was a power no creature before him had ever possessed. Control over fire changed the human body once again. He began to cook his food, making digestion easier, energy more abundant, and time spent eating shorter. The surplus energy flowed directly to the brain, and around that sacred fire, social life as we know it today was born. The tribe gathered at night, and the elders exchanged with the young the wisdom of ancestors and lessons of the past, while the flames danced. The exodus and the encounter. As the climate changed and populations grew, movement became inevitable. The tribes of Homo erectus set out northward, crossing the narrow passages between continents without knowing they were leaving their first cradle. They reached the Arabian Peninsula, the Levant, and Asia, adapting to entirely new environments in a journey that spanned thousands of years. In the cold of glacial Europe, Neanderthal man evolved, short but possessing enormous muscular build, thick bones, and a broad chest. He was not the stupid brute of legend, but a skilled hunter who dominated Europe and bravely hunted the massive mammoth. But his reign did not last. Around 300,000 years ago, an entirely new species appeared in Africa. Homo Sapiens, the wise man. Us. Our weapon was not in our muscles, but in our skulls. A brain capable of imagination, innovation, and communication through complex language unlike anything before it. While the Neanderthal lived in small, isolated groups, modern DNA studies reveal that we carry Neanderthal genes within us. Disease, hunger, and competition ravaged them, until the last of them disappeared approximately 40,000 years ago. Homo sapiens remained alone on the stage, master of the earth. Suddenly, humans began caring about things with no practical value: beauty, adornment, and symbols. He began carving intricate drawings on his spears and crafting necklaces from shells. This was evidence of the birth of consciousness and a sense of self. And deep in the dark caves, these ancestors left us eternal messages. Imagine the first artist crawling through narrow, damp passages, carrying a lamp made of animal fat, mixing colors from earth and blood, and placed his marks on the cold rock, colorful paintings on the walls depicting enormous animals and epic hunting scenes. These drawings were not mere decoration, they were sacred rituals, an attempt to communicate with the hidden forces that govern nature. Handprints. The artist places his hand on the rock and blows pigment. An eternal signature, a message across time saying, I was here, I am human, just like you. The first human possessed neither the lion's fangs nor the cheetah's speed, yet he used his most powerful muscle. When he faced the problem of the hard bone, he did not curse his circumstances, he invented a solution. A lone human in the Stone Age was a dead human. Hunting the mammoth was a symphony of coordinated cooperation. The hand that holds yours when you fall, just as they carried the injured among them for years without abandoning them. They left Africa without maps and without guarantees, and yet they risked their lives driven by curiosity and hope. Fear of change is a natural instinct, but staying inside the comfort zone is a slow death. Despite fighting for their daily bread, they never forgot to paint and to dance. They understood that beauty is as essential as food and water. Man does not live by bread alone. You who are listening now, you are the final result of this long struggle. You carry in your genes the blood of strong survivors who did not yield to the cold or to the beasts. You are not an ordinary person, you are a biological miracle. The torch is now in your hands, and the future is the unknown land you must explore, just as your ancestors did. What will you paint on the wall of your own cave for your descendants to see thousands of years from now?